As those who can attest, I have often been very vocal, active participant in these debates, and at times my thoughts, principles, and emotions have run deep on this issue, but always walking away with great respect for my fellow committeemen, our attorney, Mr. Cruz, our planner, Frank Banish, engineer John Rushke, and our administrator, Tom Chiccarone, as well as our clerk, Greg Conti, to arrive at a solution that is best for Chatham Township. Every single one of them has worked hard and given thoughtful consideration on all matters. And thank you for your patience and indulgence, certainly with me. Hundreds and hundreds of hours have been devoted to this, and that is more of an understatement than an exaggeration to get us where we are tonight. The committee has looked at, discussed, reviewed, made changes, demanded conditions be met, and consulted with our professionals over and over again. On multiple occasions, we thought we were at the goal line, only to have the goal line extended. Tonight, we will cross the goal line, and some might look at this and say, we've won, and in many ways we have, but there are no winners in this, with the exception of those few who will benefit at taxpayers' expense. It's always been a question of how bad you want to lose. I can confidently say that we have exhausted every possibility under the mandates imposed upon us by the courts to position the township as best we could, and we have. I also want to thank the Har family, the owners of Dixie-Dale, for enduring a long and arduous process that found them entwined in a lawsuit forced upon us and de facto them by Fair Share Housing Center. I found that action, entwining them in our problem, so wrong. I have always viewed them as a neighbor who happened to own one of the last large parcels of land in town. They approached the town almost 5 years ago now with ideas on what they envisioned that they could do with their property. Like most property owners, they wanted to extract value, but mindful of the township, not looking to overdevelop their land. Their family has been part of Chatham Township for over 100 years, active in the community, and even donated the red brick schoolhouse to the town, which has served as the municipal building and now the Historical Society's museum. At times, the Hars reached extremes of frustration on trying to comprehend this whole affordable housing mess, as we struggled with it as well. Had a lesser family owned that property, they would have cut and run a long time ago. And our discussion here tonight would be a lot different than the one we are having. Credit also to the Hars chosen developers, Sun and Sterling Homes, for standing with the Hars and, however frustrating at times, with us while we struggle to settle our lawsuit in committing to see this project to its fruition and us to meet our mandate. On a much broader front, since March of 2015, municipalities have had a gun squarely pointed at their head. Facing the threat of lawsuit, untold costs ahead, and every aspect of the law working against them, it has been a daunting task. Fair Share Housing Center is on a march across the state, the likes of which have not been seen from Sherman March across Georgia. This time it's terrorizing municipalities to their knees. Their press releases will tell you it's about helping seniors, the disabled, and others, but it is not. There is no incentive for that. Mr. Cruz gave you an overview of the Mount Laurel decision. That decision was originally to allow people who live in your town to stay in your town. It has drifted far from that. Legislation should be focusing on providing housing to our veterans, disabled, and our municipal workers below the income threshold, and our volunteers. Most of our volunteer firemen live outside of town. Shouldn't they be offered, if they meet the requirements, first right to housing? But that's not how the program works. Trenton has abandoned this fight, leaving the towns to fend for themselves and to find ways to offset the costs. Like most governments that gets funded in New Jersey, that will come in the form of higher property taxes. The legislature has not offered anything in the way of proportionally offsetting the cost to municipalities when it comes to services and schools. Some 50-plus bills have been introduced by Republicans on affordable housing, only to die a slow death in committee, never reaching the light of day. But this is not just a Republican issue, this is a state issue. Regardless of political makeup, many towns would welcome development and actually have areas in real need of redevelopment, not just those designating such so they can alter their zoning to achieve some arbitrary shifting spreadsheet quota. Those towns struggle with how they will fund the cost of infrastructure as well. When you hear those who call for limited government, this is the exact opposite. When you hear people speak about judicial activism, the courts going beyond their bounds, and usurping the power of the rightful body to enact law, the legislature, this is it. If you ever wondered what crony capitalism looks like, this is it. Fair Share Housing Center is the conduit used in enabling corporate welfare. If you do not support welfare, then you cannot support welfare for the rich. And this is what, in many instances, affordable housing mandates do. They allow builders to enter your town and do what they wouldn't otherwise be allowed to: overdevelop your town in the name of affordable housing. How it takes place is what Frederick Bastiat labeled legal plunder. Fair Share Housing Center is carrying out a mission that they have been duly authorized to perform, but in doing so, I believe they will destroy the state one town at a time. The legacy of this era will not be that they did something to provide affordable housing for the state, as government has a long track record of failure when it comes to providing housing. Some will say this isn't government housing, but it is, just in a different form. We have failed to learn from the past, and this shall be no different. The damage will be done, and as they will have succeeded in turning the garden state into the garden apartment state. In doing so, what little was left of the American dream in New Jersey has been destroyed. No longer can a starter home be built on available land. Odds are that will be rezoned for multifamily, high-density housing. 20 years down the road, when you are looking for someone to blame for overcrowded trains, congested local roads and interstates, higher taxes, stormwater drainage issues, local property values, lower property values, and an overall diminished quality of life throughout your town and the state of New Jersey, look no further than those who have continually failed us in the state legislature. Don't try to find them in New Jersey, however, because they'll probably all be living on a golf course in Florida, built by a New Jersey developer friend who made a fortune destroying your town. The rest of us poor schleps will still be here left to deal with it. As for me, as my time comes to a close in this committee, my vote is not at odds with my fellow committeemen. This is a good plan. We have developed an excellent plan for this town. But it is rather a statement on everything that is wrong about the way affordable housing is mandated and managed in the state of New Jersey, and is antithetical to everything I believe about this issue. My vote on this resolution